Hello, my name is Grant Ferguson, and I'm presenting to you a brief discussion on glycemic index and how fiber plays a role. As you may have heard, Grenada is implementing the policy of labeling food shelving with glycemic index scores. The sticker should help you quickly and easily decide what foods are healthy for you and what foods might not be so good for you. Foods with green stickers have a low glycemic index and will help to prevent the occurrence of diabetes and other conditions such as heart disease. Red stickers, on the other hand, have a high glycemic index and will put you at risk of developing diabetes and other diseases. Foods with yellow stickers fall somewhere in between, and you must use your judgment to decide if you should be eating those kinds of foods. A discussion with your primary care physician may clarify these questions based on your risk factors and medical history. Once we start labeling the shelves with these stickers, some of you may have some questions. Perhaps you will be strolling down the produce section and you glance at the watermelons. You've always been told that watermelons are healthy, so why not purchase one? But then the glycemic index sticker catches your eye and it's red. What gives? A glycemic index score greater than 70 is considered high, and watermelons have a glycemic index of 72. So, why do people say watermelons are healthy? In order to answer that question, we must introduce the concept of glycemic load. Glycemic index doesn't account for all of the properties of the food. It doesn't look at the average portion size, nor does it account for the total carbohydrates or fiber. Glycemic load, on the other hand, is a formula that corrects for potentially misleading glycemic index scores by combining portion size and glycemic index into one number. The content of the serving is multiplied by the food's glycemic index, then that number is divided by 100. So, for a cup of watermelon, the glycemic index would be 72. And then we multiply that by the total carbohydrates here on the bottom left as 11. And that would be 792. And all of that divided by 100 would be 7.92. So that's a good glycemic load. But why did calculating the glycemic load suddenly make it healthy? Well, that's because the majority of watermelon is made up of water. So the available carbohydrates are low. But water isn't the only component that can make a food healthy by reducing the glycemic load. So, popcorn, is it healthy? What do you think? Some of you may say it's not healthy because it has salt and butter and sometimes sugar. And you may be right. But what if it wasn't salted with no butter, with no sugar? Now that might be a hard question to answer. The glycemic index of popcorn is 72. Immediately, you may say, no, mom, you can't get the popcorn. It has a red label, see? But now let's calculate the glycemic load. We take 72, which is the glycemic load of popcorn, then we multiply it by the carbohydrates to the right there. It says 15 grams. But wait, fiber is a carbohydrate. Not only that, it's a carbohydrate that your body doesn't digest. If that's the case, we will just subtract those 3 grams from the total carbohydrates, and now we have 12. So if we multiply 12 by 72 and divide all of that by 100, it is now 8.64. So what was a high glycemic index is now actually a good glycemic load. Of course, it's important to know that these values may differ based on the type of popcorn. Does it have sugar? What kind of oil is it cooked in, etc. So the nutrition labels may vary. But now, we don't always have to say no to our parents when they say they want popcorn. We just have to make sure we take a look at the glycemic load. So, in this case, fiber was accounted for and it took up the space of the popcorn per se, just as water did for the watermelon, and therefore resulted in a low glycemic load. But not only that, dietary fiber has a tendency of slowing down the amount of glucose absorbed by the foods that we eat. So, by eating other foods with high fiber, you can reduce the glycemic index of your whole meal. These foods include leafy green vegetables, nuts, grains, fruits, and fiber can also be supplemented with products that you find at your grocery store, like Metamucil, Citrusel, and other brands that your pharmacy will provide. In the future, we do plan on labeling the foods with confusing glycemic index scores with a label that indicates if the food is actually healthy or if it's an unhealthy choice. But in the meantime, you can use this method or other online resources to educate yourself. So, the next time you're at the grocery store and you want to treat yourself, why not get some unprocessed popcorn or fresh watermelon? Thank you.